I'm Joe Duffy for Winners and Whiners. I've been a professional handicapper since 1988. Please go to Winners and Whiners right now. Sign up for one of Joe Duffy's long-term packages. There is a reason. My only job, my only income since 1988 has been as a full-time gambler and as a full-time professional handicapper. And I've picked up quite a few things along the way. I've learned from a lot of mistakes, and very high on the list is my fame anti-splits. Yes, anti-splits. What are splits? It can be how a team, or in baseball it's used for pitchers, how they do in a lot of different categories, subcategories. Like a pitcher, how he does at home, against, or on the road, night, day, how batters do against left-handers, right-handers. But the most popular one I see used in handicapping is home-road splits. And when I first got started in the business, I thought I had found the Holy Grail. I mean, after all, it made too much sense. If a home team had a better home record than the road team had a road record, and yet the team was a home underdog, I thought it was the most brilliant angle ever. And this applied in the NBA all the time. In fact, it still applies in the NBA, but I would especially use it there. And I thought that I had come up with the most brilliant thing ever. And in fact, when the internet came along, I used to read articles from other handicappers, and they would essentially say the same thing. About home-road dichotomy is another way. If you go to Google, you'll see a bunch of articles on home-road dichotomy. And then there was just one problem. It wasn't working out as well as I thought. Then computer software became more and more popular, and I found out not only was it not winning, but just the opposite was true. If a team was a road favorite, despite having a very bad road winning percentage relative to the home team's home winning percentage, you would go with what the odds makers were telling you. And in fact, it became my anti-splits angle. In fact, it's fool's gold. Here are some specifics. In the NBA, the road favorite is usually the sharp bet under the circumstances I just aligned for you. An NBA home dog with worse splits, that means, for example, the home team's home winning percentage is better than the road team's road winning percentage. So a home team with better splits, the NBA home dog is 1955, 2242, and 74 for just 46.6%. In the NFL, when you have a team that's a home dog despite their home winning percentage being better than the road team's road winning percentage, so I think I said earlier worse splits, I should say better splits. Their home winning percentage is better than the road team's road winning percentage. Such teams as home dogs are only 172, 242, and 14. And in fact, the louder the statement, essentially the stronger the play is. So in other words, the larger the road favorite is, and or the bigger the dichotomy is in their home road splits, the more counterintuitive it seems, the stronger the play is. And in fact, here's just some examples. NBA home dogs of 4 or more despite a better home winning percentage than their opponent's road winning percentage, just 665, 839, and 31 against the spread. NFL is the difference is at least 100 points, so the home team has a winning percentage of 100 points better at home than the road team does on the road, and they're getting at least 3 points at home. They're only 73, 124, and 12 for 37.1%. So in other words, you fade that. Go with the odds maker's knowledge. There's got to be a reason, as somebody once said, why the road team is a road favorite, even though the pure records would indicate otherwise. It's very rare, especially in professional sports where splits hold up, where a team remains a so-called Jekyll and Hyde team all year long. Generally, splits will regress to the mean. Not to mention, straight-up statistics are very overrated when it comes to ATS handicapping, but we'll talk about that more in some other videos that we're going to use. But if I had to really classify my most successful systems, they would usually fit under the umbrella of counterintuitive. And I can't say it enough. We use the odds makers' knowledge against them. If a point spread doesn't seem to make sense based on straight up winning percentages it doesn't make sense. It actually makes dollars. So the lesson from Joe Duffy's picks at Winners and Whiners: don't outsmart yourself. You got to think outside the box. Zig while others zag. I know there's some cliches there, but I gave you very specifics on what we mean. So again, if someone's telling you to actually ride splits, they might be a nice guy or a nice girl, but I promise you, they're outsmarting themselves. I've done that. So the anti-splits angle is in fact one of the strongest in sports, and it overlaps, but NFL and NBA in particular.